I'm Michael. I've been married to Amy for nearly 3 years now. The hotel where Amy and I had our wedding ceremony is one of the most prestigious in the country and is quite well known. Actually, that hotel is where I currently work. Michael, I'm so happy. It's incredible having our ceremony at this hotel. I'm glad to see you so happy, Amy. I'm the happiest now. We're going to be even happier from now on. That's right. My beautiful wife, clad in a pure white dress, smiling blissfully. I've never felt prouder of my workplace than I was at that moment. Since I was earning a respectable salary that lived up to the hotel's high reputation, my income alone was sufficient for us to live on. However, instead of becoming a homemaker, Amy chose to continue working. I loved her for her hard-working nature and happily agreed to her decision. We occasionally share complaints about our jobs, indicating that each of our workplaces was rather demanding. Though we couldn't often enjoy a leisurely lifestyle, we made sure to create opportunities for dates, like going on trips a few times a year or dining at upscale restaurants for anniversaries, ensuring our relationship remained exceptionally strong. We were leading a fulfilling married life in every sense. Maybe we can try something different on the menu. That sounds good. I've been curious about this terrain. I'd like to try this wine. Taking the train was a good choice. I'm glad I did as you suggested. One day, I got a call on my cell from the local hospital. The news was shocking. My father, who had been enjoying his retirement with my mother at home, suddenly collapsed. Given that my father was always lively and never sick, I couldn't help but be shaken. I rushed to the hospital without hesitation, but by the time I arrived, his emergency surgery had already begun, and all I could do was to keep rubbing my anxious mother's back as she waited. Michael, your dad is. Don't worry, Mom, everything will be all right. Eventually, the light indicating surgery was turned off, and the surgeon informed us that my father had survived, and provided details about the expenses for the surgery. Your husband is out of immediate danger. Really, thank you so much. As for the expenses for the surgery, both my mother and I were relieved that my father's life had been saved, but we couldn't help but be astonished at the exorbitant cost of the surgery. The total amount was an astonishing $100,000. I desperately researched whether insurance would cover it, but considering my father's income and age, along with the high difficulty of the surgery, which was deemed a miracle if successful, this amount seemed reasonable. Michael, what should we do? It's all right. I can handle it. But no worries. I do have a high income. You might not see it, though. $100,000 is just excessively high. Naturally, it was impossible to cover the costs with my parents' pension, so I had to take out loans to manage the expenses. Damn, our savings won't even come close to covering this. Even for a couple like us with slightly higher than average income, it was clear that a significant effort would be required to pay off the entire amount. Amy, I'm sorry. Our lives are going to become more challenging. This is nobody's fault, and certainly not yours. I just hope your father recovers soon. Amy, thank you. I'm always being helped by you. Don't say that. It's just what we do for each other as a couple. Thanks to Amy's income, we were managing to get by, but with the added burden of debt repayment, we could no longer afford the comfortable lifestyle we once enjoyed. Both Amy and I had to dedicate even more of our physical and mental energy, as well as time, to our jobs, leading to days overwhelmed by work. Naturally, finding time to spend together as a couple became increasingly difficult. Amy, you know. What's wrong? Nothing. Just don't work too hard, okay? Thanks, you too. Although I couldn't help but worry about Amy, who used to enjoy traveling and dining at upscale restaurants more than I did, I couldn't bring myself to discuss the matter with her directly. I immediately regretted it. This was because the continuous overtime had made me so busy that, even though I wanted to express my concerns to Amy, I simply couldn't find the time. The same went for Amy. Our time for conversations was increasingly taken away. One day, I was on a business trip at a hotel different from the one I usually work at. The work there involved the usual front desk duties, and since I had occasionally visited that hotel before, I was able to perform my tasks even more smoothly. Being a famous hotel, it was always bustling with guests. The clientele was quite diverse, and the lobby is bustling with a significant number of people, ranging from those about to check in to those who have just checked out. Then, I noticed a familiar-looking woman walking with an unfamiliar man in a suit. To my surprise, the woman was Amy. Amy took a seat on one of the many chairs in the lobby, with a bright smile on her face. It was a relaxed smile, one that even I hadn't seen in a long time. Feeling puzzled, I discreetly eavesdropped on their conversation. Due to my job, I had become skilled at picking out specific, quiet sounds even in noisy environments. This was because, as a front desk attendant, I needed to distinguish between the voices of various guests. This hotel, my husband and I often used to come here, so I'm really happy to be able to visit that restaurant again. I'm also happy to be enjoying the meal with you. Thank you. Unfortunately, my suspicions only grew stronger. In fact, the suspicion that Amy might be cheating had become almost a certainty in my mind. We promised to support each other through tough times, and yet, of all places, she comes to this hotel with another man. The man gave Amy a casual wave and then walked towards the front desk, his steps soft on the plush carpet. Due to my job, I also could understand a person's character by their walk and gestures. That man appeared somewhat rough and struck me as cunning. He definitely didn't seem like the type of person Amy would choose as a friend. Do you have any double rooms available? I'd like to stay with my girlfriend. Please wait a moment. You look kind of dull. You're jealous because she's beautiful. While operating the touchpad, I felt a strong disappointment, almost certain that Amy was cheating. Indeed, we hadn't had much time together, but I never thought Amy would be the kind of woman to betray me. My love for Amy was genuine, which only intensified the anger I felt. I wanted to confront both the man and Amy immediately. Bearing my anger with a smile, I informed the man that a room was available. Due to our hotel's policy, we require emergency contact details and addresses from guests without reservations. Could you please fill them out on this form? No problem. There you go. Is this okay? We're currently running a promotion exclusively for first-time guests. If your family visits within a year, you'll receive one complimentary course from the menu of our on-site restaurant. Well, sounds nice. I'd like to take advantage of that. I see. Then please fill out your family's home address and their phone numbers on this form. The promotion I mentioned was a complete fabrication, concocted on the spot. Without suspicion, the man easily provided his family's home address and phone numbers. Here is your room key card. Our staff will bring your luggage shortly. Please enjoy your stay. Thank you. Once the man and Amy were out of sight, I retreated to the back office. I immediately called Amy. Surprisingly, Amy answered the phone almost immediately, like at the second ring. Hello, what's the sudden call about? Where are you right now? I'm at home, now. All right, see you later. Wait, what do you mean by later? I hung up and headed to their room with my belongings. Amy, I never forgive you. I'll send both of you to hell myself. After watching the two enter the room, I immediately used the front desk system to lock the room. I had unlocked the room just before they entered and locked it the moment they were inside. Their room key card, which had been returned by another guest who had just checked out, was already registered as under cleaning. Being a first-class hotel, we take security quite seriously, so guests need their key cards both to enter and to leave their rooms. Honestly, there was a chance they might notice the room number discrepancy, but it seemed to have worked. Perhaps because I had clearly written the actual room number on the envelope. This means that currently, both of them are unable to leave the room even if they want to. When I retreated to the back office again, I took out my cell phone and called Amy's parents and my mother to come to the hotel. "I'm sorry for the sudden request, but could you please come to the hotel immediately?" "Oh Michael, what's the matter all of a sudden?" "It's hard to say, but Amy just checked into our hotel with an unknown man, and I suspect she's cheating." "What? No way. I can't believe that my daughter would do such a thing." "Sorry, but it's true. You'll understand if you come and see it yourself." "Okay, I see. Anyway Michael, I'm so sorry." Although initially puzzled, Amy's parents agreed to come immediately after listening to my brief explanation and ended the call. Since this location happened to be close to their home, they would probably arrive very soon. My mother reacted the same way. "We tried to go out to buy some drinks, but we can't leave the room. What's going on?" It seemed that they finally realized that they were locked in, and I received a call from their room. Although he had been very polite at the front desk, his voice now carried a rough tone with intense panic. "Being locked in with your beautiful girlfriend must be thrilling, I guess. Please enjoy your time together." "Hey, wait a minute, you." After letting the man finish his complaints, I cut off the call. Soon after, Amy's parents and my mother joined me at the front desk. Promising to explain in detail later, I led everybody to their room. With a feeling akin to poking a hedgehog, I unlocked and opened the door. Being afraid of what was to come, I cautiously entered the room. The double room was quite spacious, and we all made our way towards the bedroom. Amy. The room was a mess, as if there had been a scuffle. Pillows and lamps were thrown in random places, and half of the curtains were torn. A man standing in the center of the room, breathing heavily, looked towards us. At about the same time, I spotted Amy crying in the corner of the room. She was holding a piece of paper. "Oh, Michael and Mom. What the hell are you people doing here?" Her face immediately fell into despair. Seeing her grievous expression, I felt somewhat strange. I assumed that Amy and the man were getting cozy together at this moment. But looking at the situation, it seems as if Amy was desperately resisting. While I was lost in my thoughts, Amy suddenly stood up, started running, and fled to a corner of the hallway. "We'll keep an eye on him at the door, so Michael, please take care of my daughter. Please go to her quickly." I rushed to Amy before even fully hearing what her parents said, and as I got closer, it was clear she was shaking. The top button was torn off, and her clothes were significantly disheveled, which I found quite perplexing. For the time being, I rubbed Amy's back to help her calm down. Noticing the paper Amy had been holding had fallen nearby, I picked it up and discovered it was a termination notice. Termination notice. After a while, perhaps having calmed down, Amy began to share the circumstances bit by bit. "Well, I'm sorry. Let me explain." "Take your time." "Thank you." According to Amy, the man was her boss at work. Amy's company, facing poor performance, decided to implement major layoffs. Unbelievably, that man had the audacity to say, "If you don't want your name on the layoff list, why not spend some time with me?" No way. You don't want to lose your job now, do you? Especially since you've been working hard with overtime lately. It seems he was using his position to make advances on Amy. Initially, Amy flatly refused, but remembering the cost of my father's surgery, she felt she couldn't afford to lose her job and ended up reluctantly agreeing. However, Amy apparently hadn't anticipated that her boss's idea of spending time together had physical intentions, and before she knew it, she was pushed into a room, completely taken aback. Amy desperately tried to escape using the key card, but when she realized it wouldn't unlock the door, And to add to the chaos, her boss began causing a commotion, realizing that the situation was far from being flirtatious. In his frustration and losing control, her boss apparently thrust a termination notice at Amy in a fit of rage. Hearing this, I finally remembered that Amy had only been talking about the restaurant with her boss and also recalled how they were awkwardly lingering just before entering the room. Blinded by anger, I had completely overlooked those details. Why did you do something so risky? Absolutely true. Who knows what would have happened if we had been even a moment later? I'm sorry. Although her mother slapped Amy's cheek and her father constantly sighed, we couldn't truly be angry with Amy. It was all because Amy acted with our best interests at heart. Amy, I'm sorry. Instead of helping you, I wrongfully suspected you of infidelity. No, it's my fault for easily going along with him. Please, don't take on everything by yourself anymore. Just because you started your own family doesn't change the fact that you are still our child. Mom, Dad. Seeing the three of them crying while hugging each other, I couldn't help but cry too. Michael, I'm sorry for lying to you without consulting you. I'll never do something like this again. I really don't want you to do that again, and you can quit your job anytime, all right? Yes, and I'll look for a new job. My boss will be fired soon anyway, because he had always had a lot of problematic behavior, and he wasn't great at his job. Her boss, who tried to mess with my wife, did not apologize until the end, but his parents apologized sincerely to Amy. We apologize for any inconvenience our son may have caused you, and we have no choice but to sincerely apologize. It's really embarrassing what you did at your age. Be ashamed. Damn. You can't even properly apologize. We're cutting ties with you and never see us again. Oh no, please. According to the letter of sincere apology from the company that arrived later, after we told Amy's company about this incident, which seemed to be the last straw, the company fired him without any questions asked. Thankfully, Amy's parents offered to help with the repayment. Thanks to their support, we were able to have a little bit of financial leeway, which allowed us to spend more time together like we used to. That incident made us acutely aware of the necessity of communication between us to prevent such incidents from happening again. Hey, haven't you lost weight again recently? Actually, a large group just made a booking with us. They stayed in our hotel last year too, but there were complaints from other guests about the noise, so you must be busy dealing with that. How are you lately? Doing good. Jessica, the head of the division, is my new boss, and she is really nice. My manager is sometimes mean, but she always steps in and corrects him. Sounds great. You look good. Anyway, always talk to me if anything comes up, all right? Sure, you have my word. Hey, Amy, I found this highly rated French restaurant serving affordable and delicious dishes on the app. Let's go. How about this Sunday? I have thought that this Sunday good, too. Oh Amy, would you like to go there? It's easily accessible by train. I had no idea the beach was so close by. Shall we make it a day trip? Now that we're close to paying off everything, why don't we splurge a bit and go for an overnight stay? Well, I guess we have no choice. In the end, Amy managed to find a new job without much effort. As things started moving in a positive direction in all aspects, Amy and I once again made a firm promise to stick together. Let's make sure we didn't keep any secrets from each other from now on. Of course, let's continue to live happily together forever.